explained to me a lot about what happened.
Yeah.
But I think this is the best time for you to like kind of go into the training a little bit. What did you do and what was your experience like?
Yeah. So I'll just talk about what we did, and if you've got some more questions, I can answer anything.
Sweet.
But I actually got there, and kind of before the beginner class, they were running a bit of like an advanced class. And you know, I would never tell anybody who's coaching wrestling that like I think I should be in the advanced right away, but I was like, I've got some years under my belt on trampolines and in swimming pools, doing a lot of moves and just watching and knowing that
sweet chin music on your coworkers too,
sweet
right?
chin music on my coworkers, which I can't show off because I'll knock stuff over, but maybe someday.
Yeah.
But so they were kind of doing, some advanced stuff, and I got there a little bit early to kind of watch some things just to see how it was going. And first of all, it's so cool being right there by the ring, and I was going to get to hop in, and I was just, if nothing else, if it went terribly, I was like, at least I'll have like been in the ring and probably, fallen down, and taken a bump or whatever. So, they started the beginner class, and we started by like running the ropes, just kind of like warm up and kind of like getting your form down, bouncing off the ropes. And
and what was that how you expected? Were they like, did it hurt at all? Were they tighter than you thought they would be?
They were, so they weren't like the big thick, the WWE ropes almost look like climbing ropes from far away. They look like braided, but I could be wrong. These seemed a bit thinner, so I was like, okay. But they were much tighter than I guess I thought, which is good. I was hoping they weren't going to be loose and saggy, and most of it was like your own momentum faking it. I mean, you can really bounce into them and then shoot off. They kind of had like a certain footwork to bounce off the ropes the appropriate way. And it's one of those things where as soon as you start thinking about, like, we all know how to run and like turn and like just fall into a wall or like fall into something. But as soon as they're like, okay, you want to take this step, pivot, both feet, arm here, then you're like thinking about all this, and like you suddenly can't remember how to like do a basic like run and turn. But it went well. I was able to do it fine pretty quickly. But yeah, I do have a little bit of like soreness, and I think it's from the ropes, because we did take some bumps as well, and I'm a little bit sore from that. But I have like a big bruise kind of like down my back, and it looks a little bit more like a material bruise rather than just like a landed hard on one spot. I think it's from hitting those ropes so many times so hard. I probably was going a little too much on one side, so I'm gonna have to fix that and get a little bit more both of his shoulders. So
okay,
I got some stuff to work on. So we ran the ropes.
You ran the ropes, and you said you took some bumps.
We took some bumps. So we ran the ropes, and then we practiced just kind of like stomps. Just kind of faking stomps on people while they're down. I think I went stiff. I was a little stiff on the first guy. So to be stiff is to kind of like not really pull your punches or pull your kicks.
Yeah.
Like really hit the guy.
Yeah.
And they had me go kind of early, and I was like, they were just like, okay, your turn, do some stomps. I was like, you're not going to tell me. Like, there was a little bit of discussion of how to, I want you to kind of have like a hollow leg, like don't, really step on, just kind of have it loose and like bring it up high because it'll look better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, okay, that's it. And they're going to just have me like fake stomp this guy. And I didn't want to look bad and like miss a bunch. So I was like, well, I might as well hit him a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want them to go, hey, don't worry about this guy. You gotta make it look real. This is wrestling. So I was like, okay. Yeah. So that first time through, maybe a little bit stiff, but the second time I felt like my stomps were a lot better in terms of how hard I was hitting them.
Oh,
but
sweet.
it was fun to stomp with your other foot, and it felt cool. It felt really sweet.
Yeah, so we're already starting to see some progress.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, we've watched wrestling enough, and we know, especially if we've wrestled with our buddies, how to like be safe. And it was probably kind of feeling out how to like fake stomp, how to fake punch and do stuff like that again. It's been a while. It's been probably like 20 years since I've had like a fake fun wrestling match with a friend.
Yeah.
So we got to knock off a little bit that trampoline rust.
Yeah, for sure. Now, so this was your first time in an actual ring.
It was my first time in a ring too.
So that's cool right there.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go in a ring and never got a chance to. The mat, is it harder or softer or springier than you thought? Like, I wanted you to describe this wrestling mat.
Yeah. I would say all of those things.
Wow.
It was, so I got in there and yeah, part of me should have probably like, I trusted it. I kind of, like we talked about earlier, I kind of just had to like turn off my thinking brain and my doubting brain to like get in there and do this and not doubt myself, not overthink it, and just be like, you can do this. Like, you just get in there, they'll tell you what to do, you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta trust them and not be like, oh, I think I know better. I've seen wrestling, I shouldn't fall this way.
Yeah.
So the first time we kind of practiced some bumps, I think we started like on our butts and just kind of like lift, like we were sitting and we just kind of like shot ourselves back and practice kind of that, you know, T-pose out, slap the mat down and kind of land on your upper back, upper shoulders. Mm-hmm. So we, you know, you were just kind of like flopping back, not fully falling. And I would say it definitely, like, I wasn't worried about ever after that. I didn't think it was like too hard to just like fall and get slammed on necessarily. So it was probably about the pain tolerance and pain level I was expecting.
Okay.
I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe this is really painful. And like every time you get slammed, it's just like, oh, I might have to. But no, a lot of times, unless you fall and kind of land in a certain way, it's not too bad. It was a little springy, but I wouldn't say like bouncy. It just had some give to it.
Okay. Now when you're falling on your back, like you said you take it in the upper shoulders, upper back. You have to kind of like lift your head up. I would imagine if you accidentally crack your head on that thing, that is not going to feel good. That's how we get CTE.
Yeah, you got to tuck your chin. So that's one of the things. So obviously you want to, you know, arms out, T, with like palms down, hitting at the same time as kind of like your shoulders, and tuck your chin so that you're not, you know, bouncing your head. But you know, I'm sure, and I know I felt it a couple of the first times taking bumps. I didn't get my head tucked that well, and got a little rattled. Came up with a little bit of stars, and was like, well, might have a concussion. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So, anything else about your first experience that you need us to know?
Ooh, well, yeah, I'll just go through. So we had me run the ropes, and everybody run the ropes for practice, and that might have been the most lasting pain. But
the ropes.
Yeah, the ropes. I don't think I hit Braun Breaker speeds, but I was booking it.
Yeah.
Practice stomps, that was fun. Practice, you know, we would take turns, so then I got to sell being stomped, and the guy that was stomping me, really good, real safe, real good worker.
He's ready for the advanced?
He was in the advanced. He was already in the advanced. He stuck around for the beginner stuff to put me through my paces. But yeah, I had a lot of fun selling, and I got a compliment. He was like, you sure you haven't done this before? I was like, well, I have, on trampolines. Mm-hmm. It's like, was it like a league or a federation? I was like, no,
definitely not.
No. A couple friends in high school, you know, came by once because they wanted to hang out. We're like, hey, we're gonna have some wrestling matches, you guys just sit around and hang out. And you know, we're out in the crowd, like accidentally bumping into them because we think that's what they want. They're like, we're gonna leave now.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we took some legit bumps for a while. Kind of starting on your butt, then kind of like holding onto the ropes, leaning back, and then just falling, and then kind of just like flipping up, almost like you're slipping on a banana peel, or like somebody's just like cutting your legs out from under you. You kind of almost just want to like straight back, straight down, rather than kind of like jumping back into it, because you'll probably land on your lower like mid back. I hit that quite a few times, and they were like, yeah, that it's painful when you hit there. If you get up on that your shoulders, not too bad. But if you're landing first, kind of right in the middle, you'll feel it. And I definitely did. I would say that's what I got to work on the most. I might practice just like falling into my bed because I was so worried about landing too high, on my neck and shoulders. And so I was probably playing a little too safe and ended up landing right in the middle of the back, which is where I'm pretty sore right now.